The Browns have made another free agent signing, and like all of you watching, my immediate reaction was, who? Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, former first-round draft pick, so it definitely fills the Andrew Berry need for pursuing players who were drafted highly before. 2021 from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played at Washington. He's an outside linebacker, but I expect Jim Schwartz to get his hands dirty with this one. He's 6'5", 260 pounds, so maybe they experiment with him at defensive end a little bit. But my view on this signing is it's a depth piece. It's Andrew Berry doing what Berry has done for so many free agency periods, which is he likes to find former highly drafted players and give them cheap contracts and see if they can live up to their expectations from years past. So we're going to get you guys familiar with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I didn't think any name would be tougher to pronounce than Okoronkwo when they signed him, but our friend from Washington just said, hold my beer. So here are some pros to Mr. Joe, we'll call him. Great availability. Through 4 years with the Buccaneers, he's only missed 2 games. He's been an on and off starter for the Bucs, so he's had some good presence on that defense. He has not made any big splash plays, though. We can kind of just browse through his stats here for a second, but in 2023, he had 5 sacks. That's the most in a single season for him. 2 forced fumbles in his career, no interceptions. He just has not made any game-changing plays or had that big wow moment or factor for a first-round pick that warranted a return to Tampa Bay. But I think Berry saw pass rusher, which he loves, building up the cornerstone pieces, edge, corner, wide receiver, and he got him for less than $5 million, and he's willing to buy low for a high ceiling for a former first-round draft pick. I don't believe this move signals anything else other than the Browns just wanted to add some more depth at the linebacker, possibly defensive end position. I'm not going to associate this with any kind of JOK injury because they're 2 different positions. He's not an inside linebacker. He's an outside linebacker. Unless the Browns plan to change his position, I think this is just a little bit of pass rush depth and adding an athlete, a quality football player who sure does not have anything really pop out when you look over his stats or over his resume, but for $4.75 million, no surprise Andrew Berry is willing to take a flyer on yet another former first-round pick. So he has acquired 2 former first-round picks so far in free agency, traded for Kenny Pickett, signed Joe Tryon, which, by the way, Tryon is the absolute worst name possible for any professional athlete. It just screams like, Rudy, just give me a shot. I don't want Rudy. Rudy sucked. So change that, Joe. Make it just Joe Shoyinka. That kind of has some rhythm to it, right? Like, all right, let's go Shoyinka. Like, once everyone learns his name, it's like a badge of honor of like, you don't know who Shoyinka is? That's a casual right there. So welcome to Cleveland, Joe. Best of luck to your career with the Browns, and we'll see where it goes. But make sure to subscribe to the channel. When news breaks, we're going to be the first ones to get you guys a video. I got out of bed when Cornelius Lucas signed at midnight. We're going to get you guys a video within 30 minutes of this signing coming out when Kenny Pickett got traded. So if you are looking for a YouTube channel to keep you up to speed and tell you everything you need to know about the Browns in free agency, scroll on down and click that sub button. Now, I also just want to talk about how the Browns have made 3 moves now in free agency, and none of these moves were predicted by anyone. No one, I think Aditi talked about Kenny Pickett possibly getting traded, and that could be someone the Browns go after, but no, I don't think anyone that I had on their bingo card. First signing, offensive tackle. Next signing, first-round pick project from the Buccaneers, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. Now, I kind of warmed up, not that I was ever cold on the Cornelius Lucas signing, but I was just kind of peeved that Berry, of course, yet again makes his first signing at midnight and gets everyone out of bed for it. But I think he offers a lot of depth and experience at both left tackle and right tackle. And Conklin's had his fair share of injuries with the Titans and then, of course, with the Browns. And DeJuan Jones, 2 years in, 2 seasons ended on injured reserve with a knee injury. So It's a wise investment to make sure you are not having your next quarterback run for his life because you did not put together a good backup plan at tackle. As for Kenny Pickett, I'm pretty sure I said this in the video yesterday about the trade, but I'll reiterate it right now. I don't expect Kenny Pickett to be the starter. I don't think anyone is envisioning Kenny Pickett getting traded to the Browns to be their starter week 1. No questions asked. He'll be a part of a quarterback battle, but he's not going to be the favorite to win that battle. I don't like the trade because I think Pickett sucks. And no one likes a negative Nancy during free agency or the draft because you're a buzzkill. You want someone to tell you what your team did was great. But if someone had told you Juan Thornhill would not have been a good signing, you would have been mad at them, but they ultimately would have been right. Pickett's not going to have, hopefully, a big role on this team. Maybe he definitely will start at some point due to an injury. The only way this trade works out for the Browns is if Pickett beats the Steelers. If Kenny Pickett goes to Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium, and beats Pittsburgh, it doesn't matter how many picks they give up for him, it'll be worth it at that point. But until then, I still am never in the business of, I don't care how much it costs. If you acquire a bad player, I'm not going to defend it. Now, some 2024 numbers broken down more for the latest member of the Browns. 24 tackles, so he played 15 games. He started 11 for the Buccaneers. Let me look at his snap percentage here. Last year, he played 55% of snaps. That's kind of on par in his career. 3 out of the 4 seasons, he's played between 49 and 55% of snaps. The one outlier was 2022 when he played 75% of snaps, making 16 starts. That year, he had 4 sacks and 6 tackles for loss. He's going to have a 7 to 8 year career in the NFL as a rotational piece on defense. For a first-round pick, it's definitely disappointing for the Buccaneers. For the Browns, $4.75 million deal. Barry has always been in the business of one man's trash is another man's treasure. If someone wants to discard a former first-round pick, we'll take a chance on him. And I like Jim Schwartz having an opportunity to get something out of someone who clearly had a lot of potential coming out of Washington. So let me know what you think of all the moves the Browns have made so far in free agency. The 2 signings, the trades. How would you grade the Browns free agency through a day and a half so far? I'd give it a C-. But I think it's important to note that I didn't have an A grade in mind for the Browns this offseason in free agency. They never spend in free agency. By never, I mean, not like the Cowboys never, but under Andrew Barry, they have not been big spenders in free agency. They make moves and trades. That's where they make a lot of their acquisitions and their money moves. So I never had this belief the Browns were going to go out and sign a handful of big name contracts. So I'm not surprised that through a day and a half, they have been rather low key. I expect them to make a move when Kirk Cousins gets released. You want to clip this? We'll come back to it. It's Tuesday, March 11th. It's 1:54 Eastern Time. Kirk Cousins will be released by the Atlanta Falcons before March 17th, and he will sign with the Cleveland Browns. I'm willing to have that age poorly, but I'm willing to put my name on it right now and say Cousins is who the Browns are waiting for at quarterback. Before we sign off and get some other quick free agency notes, make sure you check out this Browns t-shirt from Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Fanatics has a bunch of gear, 25% off. So if you want to get some more Brown stuff in your wardrobe without breaking the bank, use our link. It supports the channel as well. I put that down below in the comment section and description of today's video. Now, one quick thing I want to add to our friend Shoyinka. I don't think this is a sign that Okoronkwo is getting released. That one I will put my name on that one. If they were going to move on from Okoronkwo, I would like to think they would have already done it. The only reason why they might not have already done it is because they could be working on a trade, and if one does not happen, then they have to settle for a release. But they've used up both their 2 post-June 1 designations. There's very little cap savings, if any at all, to be had if you move on from Okoronkwo before June 1st. So I think this is just a depth signing. I don't think this has an underlying message to it. I just think Barry wanted to go out and get a former first-round pick for less than $5 million and see if he can, reclaim him and see if he can bring the best out of him and find that first-round talent the Buccaneers saw in 2021. We'll end on this question right here, though. Do you believe the Browns are going to sign or draft their Week 1 starter in 2025? I think it's going to be a veteran. And that's not me saying they're not going to draft a quarterback. They still very well may draft a quarterback second overall. I don't think wherever Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward ends up should be looked at as a Week 1 starter. Baker Mayfield didn't start Week 1, and he was miles ahead of Ward and Sanders as a prospect going into the NFL. Neither did Justin Herbert. There are lots of quarterbacks who did not start Week 1. And so I'm thinking a veteran starts Week 1, no matter what the Browns do in the draft, but that does not eliminate the possibility of the Browns going QB at number 2. And I'll add one more thing to the Browns' number 2 draft pick rumors. I think it is worth looking at and noting where a lot of the more marquee veteran free agent quarterbacks are signing. And none of them have signed with the Titans, the Browns, or the Giants. That may be because those quarterbacks' agents know those teams are going to draft a quarterback. And they don't want to send Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson to that team for them to just hand the baton off to a rookie halfway through the season. So that is something to factor in here, but I do feel like there's been a little less smoke on the quarterback at number 2 for the Browns throughout free agency. If anything, I'm hearing that Cam Ward is increasing his chances of going number 1 overall to the Titans, but this draft is full of twists and turns, and we are still well over a month away from it. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the breakdown. If you did, consider liking the video and subscribing down below in the comment section.